5 seconds of silence. Welcome. You're listening to the Best of Investing on Talk 910. This is the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. And we have a lot of new listeners. For you new listeners, here's our format. If you guys sitting around a bar having drinks, without the drinks, talking business with you, the audience listening in. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm pleased to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing private lender, and Rob Spinoza of RPM Mortgage. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down, 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. And the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by a Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Check them out. You can reach them also at 916-777-5511. And today's trivia theme is the Andy Griffith Show. For us old timers.
Rob's not excited about that.
He's not excited about that one either? Okay. Our website, I can do something from Mary Pickford if you want.
Oh,
no, okay. T.W. Griffith? No. Okay, our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. You can also check out our television show, Comcast Channel 26 and AT&T Channel 99 on Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 6 p.m. Believe it or not, people actually do watch the show.
You betcha.
I've had people come up and go, hey, you look familiar. And it's not from the post
not
office.
A police officer?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. That's right. Yeah. Okay, now today's special guest is Delia Horwitz, to discuss is swapping the new shopping.
Well, that's loaded.
Wow. Yeah. So Delia, tell us, what is the sharing economy?
Well, it's actually estimated to be about a $500 million economy now and growing, where instead of people going to Target to buy something, they go online to a site and see if their neighbor has it for them to borrow it, as an example. So it's the idea that people can have access to what they need without having to own what they need.
And how do you see this changing the way businesses operate and people buy things in general? I mean, I know my wife is an avid Amazon shopper and things like that. How do you see it in, interfacing with that kind of stuff?
Well, when Amazon first came out, it was a radical new concept, and like any new business concept, there ends up being a lot of knockoffs.
Right.
Now you have something like Craigslist, which costs absolutely nothing.
Right.
I buy and sell a lot of things on Craigslist. I give away a lot of things for free. So imagine an Amazon that takes out the middleman, where you can actually have peer-to-peer exchange of goods and services.
So all the times that you've wondered, man, I've got all this stuff in my garage that I don't want to just give away, I want to sell, I wish someone could just come over and get it and it help them out too. This is really what you're getting at.
Absolutely, and when I put things for free on Craigslist in my little town of 45,000 people, within an hour I have somebody call and they come and they say, thank you so much, this is going to help my
solve my problem, right.
Yeah, but what kind of...
The other thing that is happening with this is we're actually getting to know our neighbors and we're helping each other out, and that's a feel-good as well as in our pocketbook. It also feels good in our heart.
Well, let me ask you, Delia, what kind of stuff are you putting on free? I mean, I put empty cans of paint. Nobody wants that.
I'll
tell you one of my favorite examples. My husband's a gardener, and to enhance the garden, in the off season, he puts some of those soaked flowers, that you get at Michael's Crafts or places in the dollar store. And so it had been about 4 years. We had, finally I said, that's it, I've had it, these look ridiculous. So I pulled them out and I had 3 garbage bags of these old, dirty soaked flowers. So I put them on Craigslist and a woman came to get them and she said, I'm so happy to have these. I'm a teacher and I can use these for craft projects. Sure. Cool for the kids to make Mother's Day gifts.
So you're talking about free, and I know Craigslist has that, free come and get it. In fact, we're moving in the next couple of weeks, our family, and we're probably going to put a bunch of stuff on there for free, including
free cycle,
couches and stuff that we no longer, want to lug. We're actually downsizing a bit, so it's great when you're downsizing, but that's not technically swapping. So how does swapping differ from bartering?
Well, I'll give you an example. You probably know about the company Airbnb because it's up from your neck of the woods. Do you know about
Yeah,
Airbnb?
absolutely.
Absolutely. I've used them. They're very
Okay.
good, actually.
So I just stayed at an Airbnb house in Ventura the other night for $47. And last year I earned $4,000 being a host. So I'm swapping my extra bedroom for some cash. So instead of going out and shopping for a hotel room, I'm swapping somebody's personal space.
Now, how do you feel about somebody staying in your bedroom, your sheets, all that fun stuff?
Oh, I have met the most wonderful people from all over the world. I've had a fabulous time. I've probably learned more politics and geography than other countries by meeting people from the Netherlands and Spain and Argentina.
Now, you're in the house at the
Told
time.
me it's pronounced Argentina.
Argentina.
Know that.
Now,
There was a woman president of Argentina.
now, Delia, you're in the house at the time, so you're renting a room. You're not just leaving the house to them completely.
I haven't left my house, but I have left it unlocked and let people come in because of the internet and technology. I exchange emails. I can look at their Facebook page. We talk on the phone before they come. So it's totally up to me whether I rent to somebody or don't.
So how does one participate? So someone's listening to our conversation here, and we're talking about swapping and how you can swap instead of buy on Craigslist. Is there a Craigslist for swapping, or where do you go to find out more and what's available?
There's barter.
The best site I can refer people to is collaborative consumption.
Okay.
Collaborative consumption it started in Australia. There's a book out by Rachel Botsman called "What's Yours Is Mine."
My wife tells me that all the time.
That's nothing new.
The old what's mine is
Right.
ours, and what's hers is hers. Yeah.
I think that's the best place to get educated about the different categories of possibilities. Because that will just educate people what's possible, either as a business opportunity or to participate. But to give you an example, there's a lot of things that we use one time, like maybe somebody's going to a big formal and they want a Gucci handbag. There are sites where you can borrow a Gucci handbag from somebody that lives in another country.
So talking about the collaboration aspect again, would you go so far to say as there are collaborative entrepreneurs out there as well, or?
Oh, absolutely, because
So people are on this. I mean, they're taking this to another level. They're intent on seeing it grow and benefiting from it.
one of the fastest growing business sectors, I think, is this collaborative economy. And it can be a business or it can be a community nonprofit. Like in our part of the world, we have Central Coast Hour Exchange, where in a barter service, usually there's a value based on your time. Like a lawyer would be $200 an hour and a house cleaner would be $10 an hour. Well, on hour exchanges, everybody's hour is equal.
Right.
So you put in so many hours and you get so many hours.
I thought Frank's trying to do that to us as well.
Nonprofits enrolled where people get hours for volunteering that they can then use to exchange for services.
Now, this isn't something new, right? I mean, it's just a repackaging of what people have always done.
Well, if you think about when we lived in village life, Edward, that's what
Right.
we did. Is somebody cooked, somebody went and hunted the meat, somebody took care of the kids, and somebody sewed the clothes.
Right, so everybody's trading their own currency basically for the common.
Yeah,
for the common.
the problem is I have 9 kids and this other person has 2 kids. I say, nope, you got to do all the laundry of my 9 kids.
Yeah, but somehow we used to work it out because we knew that we couldn't survive alone. And in America, unfortunately, we've taken the individualism to an extreme where we've got over 50% of elders living in their own homes and doing their own cooking and their own shopping and their own cleaning. And you don't need everybody to have a car in their garage when most people's cars sit idle for 90% of the time. Not everybody has to own an electric grill. When I've owned one and I've only used it.
I think about that all the time when I do projects. Is all the tools and everything else that are sitting in your neighbor's garage unused because
Exactly.
they use
Well,
them
there's
so
a
much.
site called Neighbor Goods.
Oh, there you go.
And Neighbor Goods is this is very active in my area, but in some cities it is, where and here's the cool thing is you put on saying, hey, does anybody have a 12-foot ladder?
Right.
Somebody has it, and it turns out they live around the corner from you. So you not only borrow the 12-foot ladder, but you meet your neighbor.
Yeah, I'd hate to have someone Federal Express me their 12-foot ladder. Go ahead, Mark. You were going to ask a quick question.
Well, how do you use this as a currency then? Are there these websites set up where you get some kind of credits or exchange? I mean, what value exchange are we using when we're trading here?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, it's not called free rides. It's called, maybe you know the name of it. My 22-year-old college student niece doesn't have a car in San Francisco, but they have that app where somebody driving by wants to give you a ride. So they're all checked out because you know that your online profile now is your new FICO score.
Right.
Nice.
It's your reputation. So she can, and it's donation basis.
I'd like to go to my neighbor and ask to borrow those green pieces of paper in his wallet.
Right. Now, the hour exchange that I was describing costs $10 a year to join so that they run the software.
Sure.
But again, it's the new currency because you're giving hours, you're not giving dollars.
Well, I would think too that there's got to be an element of reaching a critical mass on this, because I remember a while back I was interested in like a book exchange, and I looked into it initially, but it never really caught on. You know, I forget the name of the site, but people leave books on
Barnes and Noble?
No. They would leave books in a park on a bench or somewhere hidden, and then they would tell you where that is, and you go get it. But you've got to have a lot of people participate. Otherwise, it's not as accessible as you'd want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, in the Northwest, in Portland and Seattle, they've really done a good job of this. They actually have boxes out by the mailboxes
Oh, okay.
in the neighborhood where people put extra books for anybody to pick up. Of course, they wouldn't do that in the rainy season.
Yeah, which is every day.
Yeah. So, Delia, we're going to have to cut to our commercial break here, but I understand you wrote a book?
Yes, the name of our book is Collaboration Soup. I wrote it in collaboration with my longtime friend who's also an entrepreneur. And it's available on the website. There's even lots of free stuff. It's only 100 pages, and it really explains to people how to do the human side of collaboration. There's a lot of online collaboration now, tools and such, but how do you do the human side of it?
Okay, so, and how do people get a hold of either you or the website?
The website is collaborationsoup.com. We use the metaphor of the children's fairy tale of stone soup. That's where we got the name. Everybody contributes something to make one soup. Collaborationsoup.com.
Collaborationsoup.com. Great.
Delia, thank you so much for joining us.
Do great. Together we can really do great things.
Great.
Great.
Thanks again for joining us on the phone here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. That was kind of fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Figured, during Christmas time coming up here pretty soon, in a month.
Barter exchanges and swapping, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just a great way to use all of our excess inventory and talents.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to go to our first commercial break here, and before we do, though, I wanted to let the listeners know, because I think a lot of people realize that after they are thinking, oh, I know the answer to this question, no, I'm not going to answer because I'm not going to be one of the first three callers with the correct answer, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they're caller number 4 or 5, but they want to know. Wait,
was that 6, 7?
She's calling back.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to just disconnect that, aren't we? Oops, sorry about that, audience.
They called too soon.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
We haven't asked the question yet. How did you know the answer?
Very good point. So anyway, so here's the deal, audience. Here's the deal, audience. If you think you know the answer, make the phone call.
Yeah, make the call.
And what I'll do is I'm going to let you know if not only if you're the first 3 callers, but I'll let you know if you're calling number 4, 5, 6, or 7. So at least you know that you got respect. How's that? Acknowledged. Okay, so
everybody likes to be
we give
validated.
good respect.
We give good respect, yes. Okay, so today's trivia theme again is the Andy Griffith Show. Here is the first commercial break. First trivia question. In the Andy Griffith Show, what was the name of the town drunk? As Mark told me before, this is not politically correct, but that's okay. I mean, this is
your show.
It's Andy Griffith Show from the 80s and 60s. Okay. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. In the Andy Griffith Show, what was the name of the town drunk? One more time, 888-912-1190. Make sure to make that phone call and include your name, email address, speak slowly, spell out your email one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because the best of investing will be right back. A 15-minute segment.
Yeah, I think this is Mortgage Investing 101 or something.
Yeah.
15-minute segments. That's right. So we'll be laser on the next three.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, some of those questions, I was like, how are we going to tie in the next one? So I just jumped in and said, okay, well, let's keep it going. Because
it's interesting, but it's only interesting for so long. So it's kind of fun. Because I just want to talk about us.
Yeah, that's right.
Got some good stuff for us there, my friend.
I got some stuff, but it's nothing jumps out or anything. There is one thing it's not mortgage related, but I found it kind of interesting. I thought you guys might want to expand on it, but official word: the latest recession in the USA ended on 6/30/09, or 52 months ago. And then in another stat, low cash rate. The last time that the average taxable money market fund in the USA was yielding at least 1% was 12/3/08, or just short of 59 months ago. Do you think there's anything to that, anything interesting about tying those two things together?
The recession. Wait. I'm
So
sorry,
it says the latest recession in the USA ended 52 months ago, and it says
because it was the bottom of the stock market. Come on.
but then it says
2000.
right, exactly. So then it says the last time that the average taxable money market fund in the USA was yielding at least 1% was 59 months ago.
I think we had a recession in 2010 and 11.
I think a lot of people agree that, but
But if the GDP was not the gross national product.
But where I'm going with that is so you have what they're counting is the rise in the stock market, which is the money coming out of things that yielding essentially nothing for this corresponding period of time, and then you tie it in with Fed policy now with the taper. That's kind of what I was thinking we might cover, something about all the taper talk. You may have covered it on a previous show.
Taper talk?
Yeah, the Fed tapering the bond buying.
Okay.
And how that'll influence interest rate. Yeah. Janet Yellen and
she's yelling all the time.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
And by the way, our email questions we received for you, Robert. Why is it more important to use an independent mortgage broker versus going to a big bank? Can a bigger bank give me the lowest interest rate? And Mark.
No.
Next question. And Mark, the one we received for you is, if one of your loans goes into foreclosure, do you handle it, or is it up to me, the investor? Okay. All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Ready? Go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, president of Pacific Private Money, and Rob Spinoza of RPM Mortgage. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. In the Andy Griffith Show, what was the name of the town drunk? You never watched the show?
Never watched the show.
Otis.
Otis, I noticed. Yeah,
Otis, my man.
Otis, my man. Yeah. Otis, day and the night. Okay.
That was Animal House.
Oh, that's right. Rob, you had kind of an interesting article you want to share with us.
Yeah, I was just going through some stats, and funny that I noticed correspondence here, and I just think it begs other questions. But and I don't know that everybody agrees with this, but probably economically speaking, they say the latest recession in the USA ended in June of 2009, or 52 months ago.
Oh, no.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm a little suspect on that as well. But then it says the last time that the average taxable money market fund in the USA was yielding at least 1% was 59 months ago. So you guys think there's anything to that? I can tie a few things to it.
Well, first of all, the stock market hit the bottom in 2009. So they go, well, of course that means the recession ended because the stock market went up.
Well, and that's precisely where I'm going, because that ties to what we see in our industry and a lot of the news that's come out lately about what the Fed will do with tapering their bond buying and how that will influence interest rates. Because one of the things that I see happening with this stat is if you've got a money market paying less than 1%, people are going to go get that yield somewhere else, and they've taken a lot of that money and put it in the stock market. Which is that really ending the recession, or are there other things to it?
Well, interestingly enough, I attended an event over the weekend where they
No,
had
that was your first mistake.
Yeah. They had a keynote speaker economist there who was talking a number of interesting statistics. And speaking of, quantitative easing
Yeah.
and what that might have in terms of mortgage interest rates next year, and particularly inflationary factors, because you've got all these people, the gloom and doomers are saying we're going to have rampant runaway inflation because of all this. He's saying that that's completely and total nonsense, that quantitative easing has not and will not be inflationary, and the reason is because most of that money is not in circulation. It's sitting on
balance
banks'
sheets.
balance sheets, improving their reserves, and it's not going to ever see the light of day in the economy.
I wonder if the government can force that.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to do. Don't you agree that by keeping interest rates low, at least from the consumer perspective, the public perspective, that what they're trying to do is get that money invested in more risky assets?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
corporate balance sheets, no, I agree with you on that, Mark.
I think, to be fearful of interest rates spiking up in, well, let's just say the near term, in the next couple of years, or to be fearful of inflation, runaway inflation, I think I tend to agree with this economist. I think that's unfounded. I just don't think that the recipe is there. I think we're looking at stable interest rates for the next couple of years, low interest rates.
I agree with that.
And again, for savers, that's bad news, unless of course you
invest with specific private money,
right? And if you invest in mortgage-backed funds or deeds of trust, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but yeah, it's I think we're looking at a recipe certainly for stable mortgage rates, for stable inflation. I mean, inflation right now is just, other than for a few key products, it's almost non-existent. And although I guess if you own real estate and you're looking to buy right now, you might argue with that, because it's gone up double digits in many markets. But that's really not inflationary when you think about it, because again, the inflation, the real estate prices went far below replacement cost in many markets, and so that recovery or that increase in pricing year over year, and from 12 to 13 in some markets is as much as 20, some say even 30% in some markets. Although I would argue with that a little bit, but that's really replacement cost coming back into play, which is good again for the economy, because housing prices had to increase in many markets in order for construction starts to begin. So we're looking forward to that, hopefully in 2014, because we need more inventory in the housing market. So a lot of reasons, I think, to be bullish about the direction the economy is going, and that we're not overheating, we're not in a bubble, and mortgage rates and inflation should stay fairly steady.
I think the Fed's got a really close eye on the inflation side of it, and I think their actions back that up, because there certainly hasn't been any action on their part to do anything to curtail what they could see in the future as inflation. So quite the opposite.
Yeah, well, but leave it up to the media to stir the pot a little bit, because the old it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, and you're always going to have a group of people out there that are inflation
and
hawks,
so like I just some of the articles that I'm just looking through my folder here on some articles that I've shared over the past weeks on the best of investing, and how about these for headlines? Mortgage origination tanks. Affordability housing in California plummets.
I heard that too.
How about this? The number of negative equity homes plunged.
Right.
That's actually good news.
Foreclosures are down.
But it plunged to 1 million, meaning there's still 1 million underwater homes in California. So I don't know if that's
it's like
really
when they
good.
say it's like when the Fed says they have a surplus only because their deficit was less than it was before. I love that accounting. In fact, I'm gonna shift gears for just a quick second and come back to that stuff. I thought this was kind of interesting. There was an article here. It says, here's a report. The IRS refunded $4 billion to ID thieves, identity theft thieves. Okay, so it says here that $4 billion in fraudulent tax refunds last year to people using stolen identities. Right, with some of the money going to addresses in Bulgaria, Lithuania, and Ireland. Now get this, the IRS sent a total of 655 tax refunds to a single address in Lithuania. Gee, you think there should have been a little oversight? And 343, in a close second, 343 refunds to a lone address in Shanghai. There's a lot of people living in that house. Can
Well,
you believe that?
Well, you know, the same event that I went to last weekend, I saw a friend and he was on the phone. I walked up to him, I'm waiting for him to get off. He gets off, and he told me I just had to cancel my credit card because someone bought a spent $10,000 buying TVs on Walmart.com, and so he had to cancel it. And then so I'm looking at my debit card transactions yesterday morning, and there's a $1,100 and change purchase on Walmart.com that I didn't make.
Nice.
So I had to call up my bank and call up Walmart.
That's a lovely drill.
And lo and behold, they were actually canceling the transaction. Someone actually has my corporate debit account number, which is kind of scary. And of course, now I have to cancel it, which is always a pain.
That's a real pain because now you got to get a number, memorize it, and then if you have any automatic charges,
that's the problem.
legit.
I do. I have like 24 automatic deductions, so I have to go back and change all that. But you know, I guess that's. I mean, the problem is one of those websites that I've used to purchase something obviously got hacked.
Compromised.
Yeah, and so that's. I mean, that's the day and age we're living in. You got to have strong passwords. You got to expect that you're probably going to have to change out your debit card every now and again if you're buying on the internet. So
and keep changing your passwords and stuff. I mean, who remembers all that stuff?
Yeah, you need to have a password rememberer.
Yeah, there'll be
I have one of those.
That.
Well, there's several.
There?
Yeah,
Okay.
I use RoboForm. If not for RoboForm, I would never be able to remember my 27,000 passwords.
Okay, tell you what, we're going to cut to our second commercial
right.
break. Next week, we're going to have a special trivia contest. The winner is going to receive an overnight stay at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, San Francisco. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's quite lovely. It says here, with breathtaking views of the city, restyled rooms and suites, and one of the city's best restaurants, Mandarin Oriental San Francisco aims to delight with its Oriental charm. Mandarin Oriental is within walking distance of Fisherman's Wharf, Union Square, Chinatown, and the Ferry Building. With 158 elegant rooms and suites and incredible views of the city, the bay, or San Francisco's iconic bridges, it is the perfect destination for a relaxing staycation. Their new spa offers a range of luxury treatments. Check them out at www.mandarinoriental.com/San Francisco. Okay, our second commercial break trivia question is, again, the theme is the Andy Griffith Show.
Mm-hmm.
You ever watch it, Rob?
No,
I guess
never.
not. Oh, that doesn't help.
I didn't watch
then.
a lot of TV as a kid.
Good for you. Okay.
That continually works against me in American culture.
Especially in trivia questions. Okay, okay, maybe I'll do this with an accent then. In what state does the Andy Griffith Show take place? Okay.
I might be able to do
You
this.
might be.
Would you guess Italy?
Sorry, that was a wrong one. Okay, the first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. In what state does the Andy Griffith Show supposedly take place? Call 888-912-1190. And again, remember, if you know the answer, just call anyway, and we'll let you know if you're one of the first three callers or if you're caller number 5 or 6 or whatever. But make sure that you include your name and your email address and speak slowly. Spell out your email one letter at a time. And don't touch that dial because when the best of investing comes right back, we've got some very informative emails to share with our listeners. You know, it's interesting, Mark was saying that he recently got a call from someone who said, I've been listening for 2 years and I finally make the call.
Yeah.
For the trivia?
No,
Or just...
no, for
invest.
referral.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Very good.
referral for a business.
No, you were talking about the trivia thing.
Yeah.
I was listening for 2 years. He said, "Yeah, I'm calling you now because I'm interested in information about your mortgage pool fund."
Yeah.
So sent him a bunch of information, and he sent back another email, thanked me, said he'd study it and get together. He said he'd probably be investing in early 2014. So
That's what happens. You know, people, they just hear consistency.
planting
Yeah,
seeds.
yeah. You gotta. The other thing too is that you have to with those things. When you get them in your 2014, you've got to keep them in a precise ticker where you're checking in. Otherwise, you lose that momentum.
Oh,
So,
I know.
we have that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that too. I've already put it in my calendar. Call
Yeah,
this person
all
in
that,
March,
right.
right? Yep. I have to remember why I called them. I usually write that.
Who am I calling?
Why do I have you on my list to call? Please tell me. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, president of Pacific Private Money, and Rob Spinoza of RPM Mortgage. When we cut to the second commercial break, we ask this trivia question again. The theme is the Andy Griffith Show. In what state does the Andy Griffith Show supposedly take place? Rob?
You guys are looking at me like,
Was it Arkansas?
No, it was not
It's
Arkansas.
Mayberry, right? Am I in
Yeah,
there? Okay,
not
but
Mayberry,
I don't know this.
Mayberry RFD. What state is RFD?
Republic of Federation
Dakota.
Dakota, yeah, no. Well, they used to go to Mount Pilot, which was close to Raleigh.
Okay, North
Carolina.
All right.
That is correct. Okay, we got a couple of interesting emails here. And this one is for Rob.
All right.
Why is it more important to you, because I guess this person's heard this before, why is it more important to use an independent mortgage broker versus going to a big bank? Can a bigger bank give me the lowest interest rate?
Great question. We get that question quite a bit, and you get it in the context of why should I work with you? And, my answer to that is the institution is less important than the individual. When I look at a lot of the information that I read about our industry, for instance, I've got two articles in front of me right here, and one of them reads from August of 2013, singles make up a quarter of all buyers. And then in November of 2013, singles and first-timers squeezed out. So which is it? But both refer to the fact that mortgage credit is restrictive and it can be hard to get a loan, and first-time buyers and singles may experience, difficulty and confusion about the process. And so I think the most important thing, whether you're dealing with a bank, whether you're dealing with we are a non-depository mortgage lender. We have a lot of different options within our bank. But whoever you're dealing with.
When you say non-depository, that means I can't open up a CD.
Exactly. We're a mortgage bank. That's all we do at RPM. And at the Mill Valley branch where I work, we're only dealing with mortgages. And I think that we impart a certain level of expertise that comes along with that. So you're not dealing with an employee of the bank who may be, diversified amongst other products and things like that. You're dealing with someone exclusively who knows the mortgage process.
And even though you're in Mill Valley, I mean, you probably have people all around the Bay Area.
Yeah, across the state.
Yeah.
I can originate loans across the state. And I think that the most important thing is that you find someone who will be accountable and responsive, can deliver a great rate at great cost, a very competitive cost. But you need the individual in your corner, because navigating through that process, it still is restrictive. I like to look at the bright side of things, but yes, you need help getting a loan approved.
And it's pretty competitive too.
It's highly competitive, and so you will find rates, across the board, good and bad, at different institutions. Those come and go, but the individual you're working with, you're going to be in process for 30, 45 days, whatever it might be. You need someone knowledgeable.
And do you get a lot of referrals?
I do. I get a lot of referrals, both from past clients, but also from real estate professionals and other financial professionals.
Okay, well, there's got to be a reason for that.
Absolutely. I mean, we work hard in this industry to deliver a high service standard. It's not an easy industry to do that. A lot of people come in defensively, as you might expect. They've had bad experiences in the past, and undoing that takes a lot of energy and a lot of not only setting expectations but meeting them. And I think we do that especially well at RPM.
Well, I know I've referred you a couple of people because quite intelligent.
Yeah,
And you have such a different posture too as an independent mortgage loan originator. And let me give you an example. I mean, when I walk into my bank, all the people behind the desk are kids.
Right.
Everyone looks like they're 16. It's like they're sitting behind a desk, taking mortgage loan or applications.
I hear you, Mark.
But they're not experts in the business. They're an employee of a huge, nameless, faceless bank. They're paid not to make any mistakes. Do they really? Are these guys really experts in mortgage loan origination? No way.
Yeah,
they can't possibly be at a bank.
One thing that I think is very gratifying in my industry is that I take a lot of accountability for originating a loan. So if I make a mistake, I'm responsible for that. I don't leave the customer in the lurch on that stuff, and I think that's the way I would want to be treated. When you go in to buy a home, you've got a lot at stake. When you refinance your home, you've got a lot. You're attempting to get a lot of benefit. You really need somebody who's going to mind that and keep your interest at the fore. And if you do that enough, often enough, you get business as a result. I will also say, to your point, Mark, one of the very interesting things is that the downturn in the real estate economy completely legitimized our business in my eyes.
Yeah.
It made those of us who were resolute and ethical that much more professional because
Well, you're left standing because the
Right,
ones that
right.
weren't aren't in business
and,
anymore.
and to that point, we're out there. So if you're a consumer and you're looking for a home loan, that's the answer I want to give, is that you got to locate one of those people. Ask around, look online, listen into shows like this, get to know people, and then reach out to them. You'll be better served than if you are chasing, for example, an interest rate, or are just fumbling in the dark on the internet.
And how many times have you gone to the bank, typical bank, and sure enough, after 2 weeks, they hand it off to somebody else. You have to start all over again.
Right. Yeah,
Keep
very,
there,
very
start
frustrating
over.
experience.
Oh,
We hear that a lot in the industry, and it's unfortunate because it doesn't have to be that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you?
Thank you, Edward. You've put a great bio on your site, so bestofinvesting.com. My contact information is there. My phone number is 877-270-5959, and I'm at rpm-mtg.com, or Spinoza.
Okay. And again, easy way, you just go to bestofinvesting.com.
Bestofinvesting.com. Yep.
Check them out there.
Yep. Happy to
Thank you
help.
very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mark, we received an email for you. Kind of thought this was kind of interesting too. If one of your loans goes into foreclosure, do you handle it, or is it up to me, the investor?
So I'm broker for Pacific Private Money. We're based in Marin County. We make private money, or also known as hard money loans, and our target is real estate investors who are looking to buy, fix, and flip real estate. So we fund those loans with private capital, and that private capital comes to us in two ways. Either the private lender is investing in an individual note, or the private lender is investing in our new mortgage pool fund, which is called the Pacific Private Money Fund. And so it depends. So the answer depends on which way they decided to participate in what we call mortgage investing, where you can earn 8% or more on your money secured by Bay Area real estate. And so if you're one of those who likes to do private lending and you like to invest in individual notes, if that note goes into default, because you are the lender, you're responsible to pay for the filing of foreclosure. Now, you don't have to do the foreclosure process yourself. There's plenty of companies out there that are in the business of foreclosing on property on behalf of a note holder.
But you have to come up with the money.
Right, you have to put the money up front, and again, you get that back at the tail end.
Right.
And that's one of the nice things about when you spend money to protect your interest. If you're a private lender and your name is on the deed of trust, any money you spend to protect your interest, to protect your note, to go after that, you add that to the loan principal, and assuming that you've got equity in the property when it goes to sale, you get all of your money back, including default interest and late payments and any out-of-pocket expenses you had to front for foreclosure. Now, if you're an investor in a mortgage pool fund, on the other hand, the fund manager takes care of that. So that mortgage pool funds are designed to be a passive investment, where you invest in the fund, you become a shareholder, you get the monthly or quarterly distributions depending on the fund, and you do not have to take care of any of the foreclosures or deal with late payments or calling the borrower or any of that nonsense. That's done by the fund manager. You passively earn in a mortgage pool fund. Well, in the Pacific Private Money Fund, you're passively earning right now it's paying about an 8.5% yield to our shareholders.
Now, I would think in the first case, where you're the lender on that, you're making the loan at a very low loan to value, or a very good loan to value anyway.
Well, conservative.
Conservative.
We define conservative as 70% loan to value or less.
So there's a very good likelihood that you would recoup those fees.
Very high likelihood.
Yeah.
In fact, no one has ever lost capital in one of the loans that we've originated. We've originated over 600 loans, and we've had 1% foreclosure.
I think there's a portion of the audience out there that hears that and like, oh no, I'll never get that back, but you're not dealing with 100% financing here. You're dealing with
80%.
Right. Right.
Well, and the good news potentially is if you don't get that money back, it's because you went through the full foreclosure.
Right.
You ended up getting a lot of equity by taking over a
the
property.
whole property. Yeah.
Yeah. And if people are in the fund, then the fund will still earn the default interest
Right.
and all that stuff. So it's not
Right.
like they forego it. So right now your fund is paying 8.5%.
Mhm.
It's spread out amongst a bunch of different loans.
Right, it's diversified over, that's what's great about a fund, your risk
Yeah.
is diversified
Yeah.
over all of the loans in the fund, so you're not tied to one loan. That's one of the benefits. There's a number of benefits that, or I should say pros and cons between
Yeah.
how do you
No
compare and
different than
contrast.
investing.
You're right,
Yeah.
how do you compare and contrast individual note investing versus mortgage pool fund investing? And for more information, you would probably want to call our office. In fact, you would want to call our office at 415-883-2150. That's the number of Pacific Private Money based in Marin County, 415-883-2150. And I will gladly provide information to you comparing and contrasting the different ways that you can earn 8% or more on your money through private lending in individual notes or through investing in a mortgage pool fund.
Well, I thought the thing that's interesting is you're talking about conservative 70%, but the fund doesn't have a 70% average weighted
Right, oh, I'm
average
sure, yeah.
Right,
LTV.
right.
What
Well,
is
and
it?
you know that because you're a fund
You
shareholder
betcha.
yourself, Edward, and the weighted
I thought it was
average,
just because I was smart.
so the weighted average loan to value of the Pacific Private Money Fund today is 55%.
Yeah.
That means that the total loan assets in the fund are secured by property
Yeah.
that is worth 45%.
And
more
if you,
than
to put that in perspective with conventional lending, if you were getting a loan at a 55 LTV, you would be getting, all things equal, the best rate you could get.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, under 60%, you see very few adjustments to your interest rate. Everything is looking good.
Okay, and
Yeah.
so also listeners out there can go to bestofinvesting.com
Yes.
or our sister show, mortgageinvesting101.com.
Right,
Excellent.
mortgageinvesting101.com. You can listen to podcasts of our prior shows where all we talk about is mortgage investing.
And we get into all the nitty gritty
Yeah,
All
details
the
of that one.
nuances. Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting show.
Okay, so Rob, your favorite subject here, the Andy Griffith Show.
Okay, let's see it.
Okay, this was the hard
South
question.
Carolina.
Yeah. Which state is south of the show that? Okay, here is the third commercial break trivia question. And again, the theme is the Andy Griffith Show.
I can still get into the Hall of Fame because if I hit this one, I'm 333 for my career,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. You know the difference between a 250 hitter, which is just average, and
Yeah.
a 300 hitter? Just one hit per week.
Oh, wow.
And you think, oh, come on, you can do one extra hit per week. Okay.
Shows you how hard baseball
Yeah.
is. as a sport.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you have to hit a round object with a round ball with a round
Baseball's a
object.
game of inches.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. On the Andy Griffith Show, where does Barney keep his bullet? The first three callers.
I don't wanna know.
It's a clean show, family show, people. Okay, the first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. This one's a harder question. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. On the Andy Griffith Show, where does Barney Fife, the deputy, keep his bullet? Make sure to include your name, your email address. Speak slowly, spell out your email one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because the Best of Investing will be right back with some very interesting information for you, the listeners. Anything else specific you guys want to cover?
Probably have a pretty short segment.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Like
Just
3 minutes.
Yeah. This is over. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any short, no real short topics. We covered, here's piggybacking off yours, nearly 60% fewer Marin households threatened with foreclosure. And then a lot of the other stuff I have was one thing that's kind of interesting, I guess, is the Fannie Freddie thing. Fannie and Freddie continue to pump money into the U.S. Treasury, even as lawmakers plot their demise.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
With that payment, Fannie meanwhile will return $8.7 billion in third quarter profits to the Treasury. With that payment, Fannie will have paid back $113.9 billion of the $116.1 billion it received in bailout funds.
Yeah, that was the big shock, and I think what's
Yeah.
happening is that the politicians, as usual, they're working off of old information. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Solving problem 5 years ago.
right. They're
yeah.
solving problems that have already been solved.
Right.
And in fact, much to my surprise, I mean, I probably might have agreed a few years ago that Fannie and Freddie were a waste of taxpayer dollars and supporting a niche of the population that maybe didn't need the support. But now it's making money.
Right.
3 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah, this is a short one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
I'll
talk
let you
about that.
moderate it. I mean, but it's an interesting point.
Okay. Ready?
No, you're going to go ahead.
Yeah. Right.
Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Robert Spinoza. When we cut to the third commercial break, we ask this trivia question. Again, the theme is The Andy Griffith Show. On The Andy Griffith Show, where does Barney keep his bullet?
Up his nose.
No, not up his nose.
Between his cheeks.
No, not
his hat?
between his cheek. No.
Uh,
He keeps it in his pocket, his shirt pocket.
uh,
Okay, see, I told you that was a hard one. Okay, we only have a couple of minutes left. Rob, Bert, you have an interesting article there.
we talk about, even though our short-term memories aren't what they used to be in our long-term either, for that matter.
What show is
But,
this?
yeah, right. So a lot of talk about Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the government-sponsored entities, and how they were bailed out. And a lot of people were outraged by that. But the news is actually, over the last few years, we've made a lot of really high-quality loans, and Fannie and Freddie continue to put money back into the U.S. Treasury. And by way of this article, what it says is, as of Q3, when Fannie makes its next payment, they will have paid back $113.9 billion of the total $116.1 billion they received in bailout funds. So, and while they're doing this, while they're about to turn the corner, there goes Congress trying to dismantle them with no real solution in their place.
Right, and so Congress, our politicians, as typical, they're years behind. They're continually trying to solve problems that are already been solved. I mean, closing the gate after the horses have left the barn.
Exactly.
So the title of the article I'm looking over your shoulder here is "Kill the Cash Cow?" ? Question mark.
Right.
So Fannie and Freddie are profitable organizations. They're paying profits to the government. This is a good thing. And they're supporting home ownership, which is also a good thing.
Right.
So why do the politicians still think 5 years later that we need to dismantle and eliminate this very important government program?
I don't know. I hear Q3 and I'm thinking that's the third Bond. That's the third
Oh,
James Bond boss. Right? Something happened to Q1s and 2. No, I think it's because they had problems before, probably. And again,
Well, they did have problems before.
It's
I
such
mean,
a
there were
lag.
huge losses that were incurred by both those government-sponsored organizations. I call them a government organization before, but they're not a government. They're a
Quasi.
Right.
Yeah, they're a government-sponsored organization.
Another Q in there. Quasi.
But no, I think well, hopefully we'll see how that pans out. But I would bet that there might be a little bit of pressure to maybe back off on that idea of killing the cash cow.
I agree.
Okay. Gentlemen, our thoughts for the day. Bob Hope said, middle age is when your age starts to show around your middle. Yeah, I can relate to that, unfortunately.
Yes.
And Jaja Gabor said, darling, I'm an excellent housekeeper. Every time I get a divorce, I keep the house. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. Good.
Go.
All right.